Welcome to Manifest Anything You Can Imagine podcast, the podcast that empowers you to turn your dreams into reality using the law of attraction. I'm your host, Papi DiNuzzo, and together we'll dive into the mindset, strategies, and energy shifts you need to create the life you've always envisioned. Whether it's health, wealth, happiness, love, relationships, or spirituality. Inspired by my transformative book, Manifest Anything You Can Imagine, each episode brings you practical tools, inspiring stories, and bold insights to unlock your limitless potential. Get ready to manifest your greatness, and let's dive in.
Give a fish, teach to fish, delivering hope. A Paying It Forward self-improvement and personal development charitable community outreach initiative. Founded, supported, and funded by DiNuzzo Private Wealth, Inc. Welcome, and thank you for joining us today. We are truly grateful for your presence. Papi has been sharing his powerful message of hope and inspiration at various events, both in person and virtually. He's also been featured on social media, Facebook Lives, mastermind groups, and he's been a guest on several podcasts, all with the goal of reaching as many of his brothers and sisters in need as possible. If you're in need of a motivational speaker to uplift your organization or nonprofit for free, please consider booking Papi. And thanks to technology, there are no limits. He can connect with groups globally, and he can share his message virtually wherever you are. Papi's inspiring content can be found across all social media platforms, including Facebook, Instagram, X, Twitter, YouTube, Rumble, and TikTok. We encourage you to like, subscribe, and share Papi Mindset Coach on your platform of choice, helping spread his positive message to those who need it most. Now let's turn it over to Papi to set the table for us. Good morning, Papi.
Thank you so much, Mikey. Thank you so much, Suzanne, for putting together a great show, as always. Thanks to both of you. I say namaste. The spirit in me greets the spirit in you, to all of our listeners and all of our followers. Thank you so much. And especially, as you said, Mikey, social media, along with other things, continue to grow by leaps and bounds, so to speak. So, yeah, the more of our fellow brothers and sisters that we're able to communicate with and help out, the better. I remind everyone that I'm always coming from a perspective of 100% spirituality. I stay neutral as to governments. I stay neutral as to religion. I stay neutral as to politics. So we're always speaking to you, coming to you from a perspective of 100% spirituality. And the goal is what's in all of our fellow brothers and sisters' best and highest interest. So that's what I'm trying to deliver to you. I'm always trying to take 7 decades of experience and wisdom and contract that into the time that we have together. And as it flows through me, giving you the essence of the best guidance that I can, the best wisdom, the best guidance, and best direction. Again, my fellow brothers and sisters, you have so much going for you. You have so much going for you. You're an eternal, endless spiritual being. Perfect spirit, perfect spiritual DNA, perfect spiritual spark, all within you. And you possess all knowledge and all power of all time. All knowledge and all power of all time. And that's what I'm here for, to shine universal light on you, to awaken the untapped creative power that resides within you. The universe is Papi. 97% of your fellow brothers and sisters don't have any concept regarding manifesting anything they can imagine, or manifesting and how to use the law of attraction. So this is my mission. That's the purpose of the show. That's the purpose of why we're here today, for me to shine universal light. And you came here, my fellow brothers and sisters, for a reason, and for very specific reasons. And again, however powerful and however talented you think you are, if you would hold your hand up and look at your hand raise your hand how high you think, how much talent that you have. And I would suggest you to take your eyes off of your hand that you're looking at and look up towards the heavens and up towards the stars as high as possible. That's the amount of talent that you have inside of you to manifest anything you can imagine. If you can think it in your mind, you can and will hold it in your hand. You had mentioned recently, Mikey, about the podcasts, and we try to cover one just as far as what some of the experiences were to share with our audience. And I was recently on the Conscious Millionaire podcast with Mr. Crum, and he does a very nice job. And the thing that's nice about his podcast, Mikey, is that he's a very successful entrepreneur. And he loves sharing and giving back to the community as well. So it's just nice to be talking with people who have had success and are looking for ways to infuse that back into the community with our fellow brothers and sisters. So I really enjoyed the experience on his podcast. And every time that I'm speaking somewhere, we're touching more and more of our fellow brothers and sisters. They in turn inform more of our other fellow brothers and sisters. And it's just wonderful to watch the universe and how this all unfolds in front of us. I remind you, my fellow brothers and sisters, that we have an email list that we send out every week, free information, free access to free knowledge. If you go to the website, papimindsetcoach.com, you can get a free ebook. So when I say I suggest to read at least one page of Manifest Anything You Can Imagine, to read at least one page of Manifest Anything You Can Imagine, my book, I suggest that every day, if you're listening to 5 different chefs and you're trying to get instructions on how to cook something or bake something, just from 5 different chefs, they could all be the top 5 chefs in the world, but you're going to get 5 different opinions. So I say until you learn how to manifest anything you can imagine, you get it down, at least you learn all the basic building blocks. I implore you, listen to my message. I've tried to make my message as direct and clear and unvarnished as possible, solely with the intent of helping you to be the best you can be and live your best life. So tap into our system, papimindsetcoach.com, get on our email list, order a free ebook, and receive this information and start to work on your manifesting lifestyle. Again, don't put pressure on yourself. There's no reason to have pressure. You're just going to change your habits. You're going to start taking out some bad habits every day, putting a couple good habits in. Within a year, you'll barely recognize yourself. Within 5 years, you won't recognize yourself at all with how much improvement and how much greater how much more improved your life is going to be.
Well, that's awesome. What is a great podcast for you to be a guest on too, because he's very successful in business, but he also wants you to have like a successful person. He's big on personal fulfillment, so I think that aligns a lot with what your message is.
Yeah,
And
what message?
you touched on a little bit about the emails. And speaking of personal fulfillment and the emails, Pappy wants to flood your inbox with uplifting messages. And he's here to remind you that repetition is the secret to manifesting your dreams. And with so much negativity around us, a little bit of positivity goes a very long way. He sends a weekly email with 2 concepts to live by to everyone on his mailing list. It's simple to sign up. So, what 2 concepts are you going to be sharing with us today, Pappy?
Yeah, Mikey, the 2 we have working through, the first one we have up is want. And want is so important. We could have a whole entire show just talking about this one topic. We could have one show every day for a week talking about this topic. But our fellow brother says, you've heard me talk before about your mind. When I ask anyone, what do you think your mind is? 99 times out of 100 say, Pap, I think it's my brain. And you've heard me say your brain's more of your mind than your nose and your toes are. Your mind, again, think of that big circle drawn all the way around my head. Think of like I've got a white magic marker all the way around my head, and then a horizontal line in the middle, a C here for conscious mind, and SC on the bottom, the bowl, the bottom half of the circle, SC for subconscious mind, a little line, a small circle down here for my body. So it's your conscious mind working in harmony with your subconscious mind, working in harmony with your body. Your body's an instrument of your mind. So, Mikey, what starts this whole entire process, people come up to me all the time, will say, Pappy, man, you've turned me on to this. I want to start to manifest. And I'll say, well, you've manifested everything in your life, every single thing in your life right now, all the experiences, your entire reality, everything around you, you've manifested. The challenge is that most of our fellow brothers and sisters have been reactively manifesting, not proactively. I talk about pitching. We want to set up targets for your health, wealth, happiness, love, relationships, spirituality. And we want to be proactively pitching to hit that target so you can live your best life in these areas. And what starts the whole process, Mikey, is whenever I'm talking to our fellow brothers and sisters, I'll ask them, because this is really the initial point. I'll ask them, what do you want? And unfortunately, most of the times our fellow brothers and sisters will say, Pappy, I don't know what I want. And I'll say, well, we got one of 2 things here. I said, first of all, how am I going to be able to help you if you don't know what you want? And second of all, how are we going to know what to ask the universe for if you don't know what you want? So want, Mikey, is at the very beginning of this entire process. I say, think about maybe like an ethereal type of cloud up here above that image I told you about with the conscious mind and subconscious mind where you're thinking. And that's where all the magic happens in your imagination. So you use your imagination and use it to the greatest extent, greatest possibility you can, and identify a want. And we're not going to go into that part of the show today, but health, wealth, happiness, love, spirituality, relationships. Think of all these areas and write a goal or two or three goals next to it for what's most important to you. And then take a look at the most important one and say, yeah, that's what I want. So we identify our want up here, up above the conscious part of that circle. And the want, my fellow brothers and sisters, is what starts everything off. So think long and hard. Take some time and write this down. Write down what's most important to your goals, maybe up to 3 goals for your health, 1, 2, or 3 for your health, wealth, happiness, etc. And then take a look at which one's most important. What do you want the most? Now, when you want that, my fellow brothers and sisters, you've heard me say before, if you can think it in your mind, you can hold it in your hand. You think it in your mind, that's the beginning of the process, and you've identified a want with your thoughts. Then the secret sauce, as you heard me say before, is your emotions. Now you apply emotions to your want. You've thought it up, you use your imagination, you've identified the wants, come down out of that cloud. Now, when you start to apply emotion, your want is going to come down into your conscious mind. That's where it's going to reside. As you continue to apply more emotion to it, it's going to go into your subconscious mind, and it's going to get deposited into the rich treasury of your subconscious mind, and then it will turn into a desire. And then when it turns into a desire at that level, Mikey, now vibrations are flowing out of your subconscious mind, down and out through your body. You will become what you think. You will attract what you feel. What you're thinking in these vibrations and what you are feeling that's coming out of you, these vibrations, is the same exact thing as calling someone on your cell phone, wherever these frequencies are at. Wherever these frequencies are at. I was just on a call here before we got onto the show with a wonderful woman from London, England. Never met her before my entire life. We were talking about some of the most quantitative subjects you can ever imagine, very, very complex financial instruments. And then she answered my frequency, I answered hers, and we started talking about what was really most important to her was manifesting a soulmate and a partner in life, that she's at that point in her life. And that was the purpose. That's what we connected, how we were introduced from someone here in the United States, 2,000 miles away. And I'm in the United States in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, having a conversation with her on a virtual meeting in London, England, where we matched up on that frequency. And as soon as she put it out there and I did, bam, just like smacking your hands together like two large cymbals whenever you make a connection on that. So it's your want, Mikey, that starts the entire process. It can sound simple, but most of our fellow brothers and sisters are stepping into the ditch and not even getting started right off the bat. So identify with your want. The next one, Mikey, I'll just do a little bit shorter since I went long and out. But the next one I see you have queued up is will. Your will, and your will, my fellow brothers and sisters, is so important because no matter what, I love the movie The Secret. It came out about 20 years ago, but just one asterisk that I place next to it is that it was very, very heavy on thinking and everything around that perspective, but not on action. And will was related to me like right before action is you having your will and your focus. So the universe says, Papi, you and all of your 8 billion fellow plus brothers and sisters have been granted higher faculties that no other living creature on earth possesses, but you possess as human beings. And if you get a chance to read my book, and I make it available for free, the ebook is free. WIPRIM, WIPRIM, will, imagination, perception, reason, intuition, and memory. So the universe, Mikey, is telling us that will is one of our 6 most important higher faculties that only we have. It's that special. And when we apply our will, when we apply our focus, you had mentioned earlier, Mikey, how important repetition is. How are we able to have repetition and to be able to build a successful manifesting lifestyle, to be going from a win to a win to a win all day long? This is tied in. This is hand in hand with our will and our focus, producing our repetition. So, my fellow brothers and sisters, will, WILL, is one of the most powerful higher faculties that you have. And it's like any of these other mind, body, and spirit muscles that I talk about. A lot of times when I first meet someone, they didn't even know anything about this. And as time goes on and they hear more of the message I'm delivering, I am exercising that mind, body, and spirit muscle for you. And as that muscle gets larger, that's how you're going to be able to incorporate all of this and be phenomenally successful all the way through health, wealth, happiness, love, relationships, and spirituality. So, will and focus, determination, and taking action, extraordinarily important element for your success in manifesting anything you can imagine.
So it's my understanding that want reflects your desire, while will represents your determination and belief in achieving your desire. So you have to go from a passive wish into an active intention. So, and
Yes.
once you identify your want and you set your intention, Pappy wants to help you manifest it with a coaching tip. Pappy, can you share your coaching tip in manifesting the law of attraction with us today?
Yeah, and when I think of Will, Mikey, I think of you. You were just talking, what just came through from the universe. Mikey is an expert in my mind as far as working out, exercising. She has a very strong will, so she enjoys that. She applies her focus to it and her will, and she's very successful. So, Mike, you've got a very strong will, and I see that. Anytime you're discussing or talking about working out and exercising, how good you are at that. So that's a great hands-on example of your will in play. Um, manifesting the law of, you're welcome. Manifesting the law of attraction. Today's coaching tip. This one had come through from the universe, Mikey, a bunch of times, and that's my message I received was put this in today's on today's show. Came through the first time maybe about a decade ago, and then another time a year or two ago, and then again recently. And there's a gentleman by the name of Chris Martin. He's the founder, lead songwriter, and pianist. He plays the piano, but he's the founder, lead songwriter, and pianist for a band called Coldplay. And many of you, if you've never heard of Coldplay, a little bit younger than me from what I grew up listening to, and maybe a little bit older for some of our listeners. I'm not sure where they would fall in. But if you listen to a few of their songs, you say, okay, it's those guys, it's that group. So, but very successful group. I believe they were founded in England, and Mr. Martin has spent time here, I know, in the United States, a lot in California. But I just found it fascinating, Mikey. Whenever the first time I heard him being interviewed, and he was in New York City, not New York City, I'm sorry, London, England. He was in London, England, and they were talking about his creative process, and he would say he was in the heart of the city, and a flat, I think is how he phrased it, and he had a studio that was on the first floor right down the street, and he said that he wanted a studio close to him because he would often be inspired in the middle of the night, and he would wake up and he would have all these, like I call it popping popcorn, so subconscious mind was speaking to him, giving him ideas, and that's when he wrote most of his music, was in the middle of the night, by himself in this studio in London, 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. And I heard another interview from him about a year or two ago, and someone was interviewing him. He was saying, yeah, he said he had one, and they don't really call them albums anymore, I don't think, Mikey. However, they package music and send it out, but it was a bundle of their songs from Coldplay. And he said he had this one song that he just loved, but he couldn't finish it off. He just couldn't finish off like one line or one sentence in the lyric. It was just missing everything. And he just couldn't find the right thing. I think it was the day before they were to get it to the record company for release, that it was going to be released to the audience, to the public. And he said, you know what, I'm going to sit down and I'm going to meditate and see what happens. So he sat down, he focused on that. And he said, he was telling the interview, Mike, he said, and it came to me, the missing phrase, the missing sentence in the lyric. And he said it was just the greatest. He had never thought of it before, but it just came to him. So that's why I tell our audience, Mike, like, where do you think that came to him from? Where do you think that came from? That was a download from universal intelligence. We have, my fellow brothers and sisters, you have pure power, spirit, and energy flowing down into you all day long. And this is how you want to live your life, is inside out, flowing down into you coming through you and flowing out of you. You want to live inside out, not outside in. Outside in is you're listening to the news, to social media, to family members, to all these external sources, and they're coming at you. And if you're living your life that way, where you're catching spears all day long and you're catching hand grenades and putting out fires and jumping on hand grenades all day long, then you're living your life outside in. You are not in control. And that's why 97% of our fellow brothers and sisters are not manifesting their best life. They're living it that way. So I just thought Chris Martin, Mikey, was such a good example how he had figured out, and it's different. As Bob Proctor told me, Mikey, numerous times, says, Pappy, people do it a lot of different ways. So some folks are very visually oriented. Some folks like to write things out. Some folks like to listen to things. Some folks like to listen to music. Some want to go for a walk in the woods. Some want to run their sweeper. Some want to be in water, around water. Some want to be, there's all types of different techniques. But he got so tapped into this. And when he said it came to him, and that's where it came from, he got in touch. If everyone can understand within the sound of my voice, your subconscious mind is your access, the universal subconscious mind. That's the connection, all knowledge and all power of all time. How about that? That's what you have right inside of you. You want to learn how to access that. Your subconscious mind is right next to you. Think of like in your ear, in the most pleasant form possible, whispering to you, telling you all day long, giving you the greatest answer that's 100% correct, that's always in your best interest, that can give you the life of your dreams. So you want to get in touch with this, the greatest perfect answer right here in your ear all day long. So I heard that interview, Mikey, and then there was one other one, and there was a woman that I gave a talk to in New York City a couple of weeks ago. I gave a presentation to a number of nonprofit 501c3s. I have a 501c3 set up also, the Papi DiNuzzo Global Manifestation and Mindset Charity. So just for money to flow directly in and directly to our fellow brothers and sisters all across the globe. And I was talking, and here, Mikey, she used to be an assistant for a studio in Malibu. And she was saying, Pappy, what you're saying about Mr. Martin, she said, that's exactly. She said, I would have to set up. They had a wonderful, like, little Asian garden outside with some wooden steps, and the plants were like gorgeous. This was in Malibu, right up on the Pacific Ocean. This gentleman had a residence, and then he had a recording studio right next to it. And Coldplay would often reserve the studio for an entire day. And she said anytime she saw Coldplay on there that she didn't know this gentleman to start off with, but she'd put out a little rug for him. She put out a candle, a flower, a glass of water, and had a little setup for him. And he would go and meditate before he went into the studio. And I'm coming up to the conclusion here, Mikey, on this. So I reached out to the universe, and I said, man, this Mr. Martin has like quite a phenomenal process that he goes through. And I've heard a couple of these anecdotal examples. And I asked the universe, I said, how much has this meditation that Mr. Martin done attribute to the songs he's written? Like, how much has flowed through him from universal source, from universal subconscious mind, from source energy? And the universe said 85%. So my point here, Mikey, is our fellow brothers and sisters, this is available to anyone, any technique. There's so many different techniques for you to get in harmony, alignment, and flow with the universe. There's so many different techniques for you to be able to do this. Some people can get in this zone if they're working on sculpture or pottery. They're dancing. They could be journaling. Again, they could be going for a walk, exercising on a treadmill, meditation, however you get there. But 85% of what he created, and he's a phenomenal lyricist on what he's created. That's what he's known for, developing these phenomenal songs. 85% of this flowed through him. I looked him up, Mikey. I have a couple images in my presentations now. When it's appropriate, I show a couple of images of him and the band. And one of the sayings, as you can imagine, whenever you go back and look at these folks, one of his sayings that he says a lot is, the universe works for you. So how about that? That's one of his quotes. And then the other one he's known for is anytime before he gets on stage, that before his feet touch the stage, that he bows down literally on his hands and knees and bows down and kisses the stage. So anyone who's listened to me, Mikey, has heard me talk about gratitude over and over. He's given that level of gratitude. This gentleman's probably worth hundreds of millions of dollars. I don't know, but he's phenomenally successful. And he's giving gratitude like that every time he goes up and he's walking on that stage. So he's got the front end of it, Mikey, what he's doing through his creative ability with all the downloads that are coming in, pure power and spirit and energy, and he's channeling that, bringing that in through meditation, and he's in contact with his higher consciousness, his higher self, and universal subconscious mind. He's letting all this knowledge flow through him. He's grabbing it. If you could think it in your mind, you can hold it in your hand. He's writing it down, and that's what 85% of the lyrics that he's come up with for his song. So to see this in action, a living, breathing situation, I always love seeing it, and to get confirmation from the universe exactly how it works and how well it works to help give our fellow brothers and sisters as much confidence in yourself as possible. I just wanted to share that little story with you. And he appears to have a heart as big as the state of Texas here in the United States, which is a very large state, and how he's accomplished it. So I thought that was a very heartwarming story with how successful he's been.
And he is a great example. You used me for an example for Will. Thank you very much. But he is a great example for one. And there are so few videos out there that actually have somebody manifesting, like saying it out loud. So if you go to YouTube, you could see his interview that he had with Ellen. And he's it was 1998. He's at a picnic. He was like 26, no, 20, 22 years old. And he literally said, like, in 4 years, Coldplay is going to be the most famous band in the world. And you can see him on the Ellen show, and he's like giggling because he's watching himself on TV. Literally 4 years later, after he said that, he was headlining concerts. And it's on video of this happening. So like, Pappy's always going to tell you the truth. And like, there's proof like that. You can go out there, you can watch this video. He manifested that. He knew his want, and he set his intention. And that goes back to like, he has intention. You said he has gratitude, and I'm sure that he does his affirmations as well. And I know that affirmations are a very important part of manifesting anything that you can imagine. And you always keep your affirmations in the present tense with I am so happy and grateful now. And I know you want to share one with us today.
Sure, Mikey. Thank you so much for doing the research on it. I had not had the pleasure of being able to watch that video with him, but that's what's always fascinating, Mikey. When you go back and take a look, when he made that statement, they were maybe not even in the top 1,000 bands or even 10,000 bands on Earth. And then to be at the very top, as they were at the very top of the mountain for a number of years. So thank you so much. I love these real life stories. That reminds me back, Mikey, the woman I was talking to earlier this morning. She said, Pappy, I've got off my game. She's in a very competitive business. There's a lot of pressure. This woman is a genius. She's very, very intelligent quantitatively, and she has very good people skills. So she rose to the very top of complex financial instruments with financing and banks and treasury and cryptocurrency and private credit, et cetera. But she said, Mikey, she said, up to like 10 years ago, she said what she would do, since she was in like the crypto world and finance, which she had all of her assets, including her paycheck, tied to. She said she would try to balance that out by investing in real estate. And she said, Pappy, you're just reminding me how successful I was before. She said, Pappy, you probably won't believe this. And then she started to giggle. She says, oh, no, of course you will. She said, but I would look at a high-rise building, and there were flats, so they call them, of course, in England. In London, she said there were flats for sale. And she said, I would look at it and I would say, that's mine. I'm going to own that one. And she said, I think of one off the top of my head. She says, 2 weeks later, I own that. So she's looking at something like dozens and dozens of what we call in the United States apartment units, dozens and dozens of these. She points, she says, Pappy, I need to get back there before I got so caught up in the world and this pressure and everything coming at me. And that's what I'm helping her with now, unpackaging that. So, when you take a look at it, when you get this all unpackaged and when you're in what I call harmony and alignment and flow, like Mr. Martin was, we hear these examples over and over. But thank you so much, Mikey. And I love you pointing our tribe to go online and be able to listen to these, because it's amazing whenever someone hears us, Mikey, like you said, and it's that sort of independent third-party confirmation, how they'll come back and like, yeah, Pappy, that's like really, and like, well, we've talked about that, 100 times, like, but it does mean so much for our fellow brothers and sisters to hear this from different sources. And thank you, Mikey, for queuing up the affirmation. Affirmations are a big part, basically, during the course of my day, setting intentions. I'm setting intentions all day long. Mikey and I sat down and had an intention bonding right before we started the show today, setting intentions on the best and highest use for our fellow brothers and sisters, so we positively affect you as well as possible for the best and highest use of the information that's coming through. And affirmations are a big part of it. Also, throughout the day, I always start off affirmations. I am, and I always capitalize am, capital A, capital M. I am so happy and grateful now that, remember, my fellow brothers and sisters, I can remind you every time we talk, the universe is eternally grounded in the present, present, in the present. There is no past, there is no future. And why is that important? The supermajority of our fellow brothers and sisters spend all day long looking at their past and complaining about it. And when they're not doing that, they're looking at their future and they're fearful of it. They're worried about the future. You are supposed to be right here in this zone, in harmony, alignment, and flow, in the present. And you wonder why you don't have in your life, and you have a lot of things in your life that you don't like, complaining about the past, fearful about the present. So I want to bring us right into this zone in the present. I want you living all day in the present, grounded in the present, developing and then enjoying, once you develop this, a manifesting lifestyle. So the affirmation I'd like to share today: I am so happy and grateful now that universal intelligence knows my name. And my fellow brothers and sisters, universal intelligence knows your name and loves me and loves you enough to extend an invitation to us to teach us its universal ways so that we may succeed, grow, and be happy to our heart's desire. These universal ways, this universe runs like the most accurate Swiss watch you could ever imagine, everything down to the nanosecond of accuracy. You and my fellow brothers and sisters are in the game of life, and the rules of this game that we're in are universal laws. And I talk a lot about that. Get in harmony with these universal laws, understand them, even the basics. And if you give the universe, as you heard me say, a 2, and you give it another 2, it must, by universal law, give you a 4. So understand these universal laws and how powerful they are. Every prayer, every affirmation, every intention. How great of news is this for you, my fellow brothers and sisters? Every intention that you set, every affirmation that you offer, every prayer that you offer, everyone is heard. Everyone is answered. And the universe reminds me all the time, Papi, remind your fellow brothers and sisters, oftentimes the best answers are the intentions, prayers, or affirmations that are never answered, because we may think as human beings that's in our best interest. And then upon further review, a day later, week, month later, a month later, a year later, 5 or 10 years later, we would say a lot of times, thank goodness, I thought that was the most important thing in my life that I wanted. Thank goodness that didn't come into my life, because something so much greater came in. So again, my fellow brothers and sisters, focus on affirmations every day, intentions. A lot of our fellow brothers and sisters are comfortable with prayers. They'll all work in thinking what you want, thinking that thought, and applying emotion to it.
That's powerful. I love that. No regret, no fear, just success, growth, and happiness. And that's what the universe wants for all of us. That's fabulous.
Yeah.
And now we get to ask Papi a question. If you have a question for Papi, you can just go to our website and click on the corner at the top, ask Papi link. And today's question is there a specific time frame in which manifestation comes to fruition?
Yeah, Mikey, this is a very common. This is probably a top 10 that I get asked. And I would just start just to go through like the hierarchy or the footprint, I guess, Mikey, just a little bit in that. What I found, we'll never manifest anything we can imagine, myself, you, me, Mikey, Suzanne, any of us, if we're uptight, if we're putting pressure on ourselves, we're not our true, genuine self, because then we're not in harmony, and alignment, and flow. So although I work on you with your big 10x faith goal, your real big goal, you have your other most important experiences every day, 3 of them, 4, 5, maybe up to 6, and then your other experiences. So yes, we're going to work on your big faith 10x goal, your big number 1 goal. But if you think of this hierarchy, this ladder again, so to speak, that's not in order. I just have them listed: health, wealth, happiness, love, spirituality, relationships, whatever else you want to add in there. Yes, your 10x goal is going to fall in one of those categories, but you're setting intentions. It falls all across this entire continuum all day long. And what I'll tell you, my fellow brothers and sisters, is we don't get gummed up on trying to anticipate when this might be delivered to us. If you can think it in your mind, you can hold it in your hand. If you think it and you apply emotion to it, it is now on the conveyor belt, a conveyor belt heading toward you. The distance it's away, we don't know. The speed to which it's coming towards you, we don't know, but it is on there and it is coming towards you. So you'll hear me say 5 hours, 5 days, 5 weeks, 5 months, 5 years. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. There is no if. There's only a when. So instead of myopically focusing on just that one goal, just imagine, my fellow brothers and sisters, you're setting intentions all day long, offering affirmations, prayers, whatever you're most comfortable with. And you could have something on that list that is up in the health category. And maybe let's just say your goal was something in the wealth category. And you can have something delivered to you in health or happiness or love or spirituality or relationships, one of these other items along the continuum. And if you think about that, you're like, man, I would have thought that would have taken a couple years for me to get that. And I got that in 2 weeks or 2 months. So again, living a manifesting lifestyle, you're working on this entire continuum all day long, very naturally, because you built your mind, body, and spirit muscle with working with me and listening to this message and internalize this. You built it so large, you're doing this with ease, and you've got dozens and dozens of conveyor belts all coming toward you every day. So that way we don't over focus on anything, because if you over focus and you start to apply worry or fear or doubt or anything, you just shut that switch off in that conveyor belt, and it's just going to sit there, and it's going to evaporate the longer it sits on there. So we don't apply any worry or doubt. We don't overthink it. We know that it's on its way. We know that it's on its way. We know that it's on its way towards us, and we allow it to come when it comes, because you will be pleasantly surprised in a lot of other areas as far as what you're going to receive. So is there any specific time frame, Mikey? We never think about time. Actually, time and space, but time is specifically, Mikey, is a 3D construct. It's a 3D construct of us here on planet Earth. There is no time in the universe. And if you think about it, you are an eternal and endless spiritual being. You're eternal and endless. Time doesn't mean anything. You don't age. You are eternal and you are endless. So is there a specific time frame in which manifestations come to fruition? The universe says it will be delivered to you when it should be delivered to you in your best and highest use. You're focusing on everything else. You're living a manifesting lifestyle, and you're having all kind of other things, Mikey, in the meantime, come to you that you would think maybe would have taken weeks or months or even years longer. So yeah, no specific time frame. The universe at times, Mikey, of course, is going to test us. How much do you believe in this? How genuine are you? How much thought energy are you applying to this? How much emotional energy? I mean, energy is emotion. They're related hand in hand. They're related hand in hand. So don't worry about the time. It's on its way. It's on its way to you, guaranteed.
Right. And you just have to remind yourself that the universe is working for you. It's constantly working for you, and that you just have to trust the process, and it will come when it's ready to come. You just have to be
Yep.
patient, set your intention, and you have to remember to take action as well. You have to set your intention and the universe will deliver. So, um,
Yes.
Pappy, your book, Manifest Anything You Can Imagine, is available on Audible. It's available on ebook, and it's also available as a physical copy as well. And today we talked a lot about like famous people that have used manifesting to achieve what their dreams are. And there's a lot of quotes from famous people, but I think that some of the most powerful quotes come directly from you, some of the most inspirational ones. Which one are you going to share with us today?
Thanks, Mikey. And they sort of, it's rare that I disagree with you, Mikey, but instead of from me, I would say through me. So yeah, this has
Okay.
all come through. So yeah, I mean, I will take as I say, it's all about the message. I'm just the messenger, but thank you so much. Yeah, you picked out a great one for today, Mikey, from Manifest Anything You Can Imagine. Thoughts are like pictures. Thoughts are like pictures. They are powerful and manifest your goals. So just think of just a snapshot, my fellow brothers and sisters. If you if and when that is accurate, that is true, what you're seeing in that snapshot, in that picture, your goal has been achieved. You focus a snapshot like that in your mind, a picture like that in your mind, And what could make you happier and raise your emotions higher than you succeeding by everything in that picture being true, by you internalizing it? You think about it, Mikey, and think about it. And one day you just walk right into it. And you're like, at first, you're surprised. And as you get better at it, you're not surprised anymore. You just walk right into it. So thoughts are like pictures. They are powerful and manifest your goal. Thoughts and your pictures connected together and visualize like a short film will manifest your goal faster. And it's not about faster, but just bringing more emotion and more clarity into it. Thoughts and pictures connected together and visualize with emotion like a full-length movie will manifest your goal faster. So again, Mikey, the more we focus on this, universe says, Pappy, your fellow brothers and sisters spend 17 seconds focused on something. Now it is started to come into form. 17 seconds, Mikey. That's not asking that much. Universe says, Pappy, if your fellow brothers and sisters focus on something 17 times 4, 17 seconds, 4 times in a row, that would be 68 seconds in total, slightly longer than a minute. You not only start to bring it into form, but you bring it into form, and the universe says you now have momentum of it coming towards you. So like attracts like. You're having a happy thought right now. The next most likely thing that's going to happen in your life is something happy. You're going to attract something happy, and like attracts like. You are a magnet. You're having a negative, low vibration thought right now. The most probable thing that's going to be attracted into your life next after that is something negative and low, heavy vibration. You are a magnet. Like attracts like. So again, my fellow brothers and sisters, don't have to have a lot of time. If you have more time, I was actually on the treadmill this morning. I was on for 45 to 50 minutes, doing my visualization. All the lights are out. I even got my goggles on. I've got my chill music in. I try to listen to as few words as possible. And I'm going through my whole list: health, wealth, happiness, love, relationships, spirituality. I'm going through all of this about communicating, delivering my impression increase. And my fellow brothers and sisters, there's so many different ways of doing this, my fellow brothers and sisters, but that snapshot, even that one snapshot, and this would be in the spaced repetition that I coach you up on throughout the day. You can take 68 seconds a number of times throughout the day, and you can focus on this, even if it's that snapshot. If you just have a minute or two, focus on it. Think about it, bring it into focus, apply emotion to it, and you have momentum from this spaced repetition throughout the day of your goals on those conveyor belts flowing toward you.
Thank you so much for leaving us with that inspirational thought. And I hope that we all end the show with happy thoughts so that we can all attract just good things. So thank you so much for that. And if you are new to Papi Mindset Coach, be sure that you're signed up on PapiMindsetCoach.com to receive Papi's free educational emails and get access to upcoming live events conducted by Papi to help you manifest the health, wealth, happiness, and love of your dreams. And one additional reminder to please remember to like, subscribe, and share our Papi Mindset Coach social media links. Thank you so much.
Namaste.
Namaste.
That's a wrap for this episode of Manifest Anything You Can Imagine podcast. Keep those dreams big and your mindset unstoppable. Take one step today toward the life you're manifesting, because you can create anything you imagine. If you can think it in your mind, you can hold it in your hand. Visit PapiMindsetCoach.com for more resources, and follow us at Papi Mindset Coach on social platforms for daily inspiration. If you love this episode, share it with someone ready to transform their life. Until next time, stay focused, stay positive, and keep on manifesting your best life. See you soon.